Hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode of the Business Start Hub Pod. This week we've got Alex O'Keefe on, who is the managing director of a commercial cleaning service. In this week's pod, we talk about Alex's beginnings, his sort of work in the music industry, and then up until starting his commercial cleaning service. Hope you guys enjoy. Alex, finally, as I was saying, so first. Yeah. Tell everyone sort of about yourself in terms of what you do, what you're doing at the moment.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. I think like the first time we spoke was like November, maybe December time, and I was like, hey mate, I'd really love you to come on. And then it was like, okay, I think it's best we move it to like January time. So thanks for actually coming on, because we talked a bit about getting you on.
Yeah, that's all right, man. It's good. So just a bit about me. My name's Alex O'Keefe. I'm a business owner. I play non-league football, and I'd just like to think I'm a very positive, nice, uplifting sort of guy, and that's me. I run a podcast as well. Called the Self-Made Mind podcast, which is we're kind of at similar stages, my man. We're just getting started on that journey. So.
Yeah, just getting started and looking forward to it. So first off, so just in terms of we'll get to you starting your business and all that and all that side of it. First, I wanted to sort of know about Alex. Like, what came first? Like, what were you like in school? Did you always think, I'm gonna start my business and be self-employed? So, what were you like when you were younger?
Yeah, I think for me. It started maybe subconsciously when I was really young. My mum actually used to read me books. I don't know if you've heard of that, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Have you heard of them books?
No, not too much.
She used to read us these books when I was young, and kind of subconsciously it put in like a really positive mindset into me from a young age. But it's not until later on in life that I kind of tapped back into it, if you know what I mean.
Okay. What were you like in school? I want to know that. What were you like in school?
School time. Just a little cheeky chappy. I didn't really like school. In terms of education, it just wasn't my thing. I'm not really an academic sort of person, and I don't really agree with how kids are taught at school.
I'll tell you what, that's with a lot of people I've done. I'm actually like that myself. At school, I was an average student. Could have done better, but I think I was disinterested with the schooling side of it, but the social side of it, I think, really helped me. And then, you're saying, I think school now, there's a lot that's missing in terms of. It's just they teach you to take a test, but there's no actual real world application. So I was kind of the same. I was really social, played football in school and all that stuff. But then I was kind of glad to leave, to be honest. So it's kind of the same as you probably.
Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. And like I said, the social aspect is brilliant. You meet friends at school for life. But in terms of setting you up for your own life, I think there's a lot to be left. I'm learning how to dissect a frog here. What good's that doing to me? You know what I mean? When we leave school, we don't know anything about money. We don't know anything about investing. We don't know how to set up a business, and even on like the health and nutrition side of things as well. The essential things.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me with school was like, I left and I couldn't really tell you much that I learned in high school. You didn't teach me a trade, didn't teach me, like you're saying, about taxes, getting a mortgage, stuff like that. So that side of it, I wasn't really that good a student, to be quite honest. Then sort of what came after you left school?
After I left school, I got an apprenticeship as a landscape gardener.
Okay.
I was just kind of a bit lost. I really was just lost at that time. I didn't know what to do. I always had that underlying feeling that I was gonna take control eventually. Okay. But I didn't. At that time.
So what? How long did you do that for then?
So I did that for probably 3 years, and I think with anything, with each step in your journey, you learn different things. So, one good thing from being an employee is you can learn how that business is run, or you
Yeah.
can take, you know what I mean? You can take lessons from each sort of industry. So from that time in my life, I worked for a small business, and I saw how a company was run. And I think, it comes further down the line, and now I've
So
set up my own.
So what was like the demographic then? Were you one of the younger lads that gone in, and I
Yeah.
was that settling in then?
Well, it were literally just a one man band who brought me on as an apprentice. So I was his only member of staff. So naturally, this chap, I don't want to badmouth him. He probably won't listen to this anyway. But he had a bit of a power trip, and the common thing, like you're an apprentice, you're a bit of a slave,
Yeah.
bit of a slave driver. You you do all the stuff that they don't want to do, basically. So that's what I did. But by the time I come to leave that business, I'd kind of already set up my own little round on the side, and I were ready to actually set up my own business in that industry. But an opportunity come up for me to move to go live in Marbella, funnily enough, doing the same thing. But my cousin actually had a company over there in Marbella, so I went and lived there for a year, which were another interesting
I was gonna say,
experience.
what was that experience like? I'd love to go midstream 2021, go live in Marbella. What was that like?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's great. It's one of those. I think you'll have heard it off of a few other people. Like they say, it's great to go on holiday there, but living there is a different story. There's a lot of basically where I were. It's Costa del Sol. Costa del street crime, so they say.
Okay.
A lot of like ex-convicts and stuff have moved there, and it was just a lot of drugs and addiction everywhere you look. Not a great place, to be honest.
To be okay. So then, how long did you stay over there for then?
So I stayed for about a year, and over there, whilst I were there, I ended up. Are you a football fan yourself?
I actually used to play a bit of non-league stuff when I was younger.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I used to be mad about it.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So I was actually looking after Daniel Agger. Do you remember Daniel Agger that used to play for Liverpool?
Yeah, for Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah, we were looking after. I was looking after like his holiday home out there and stuff, and so like up in the Mias Mountains it was. And so we were looking after his grounds there, and like, yeah. So I never got to meet him, unfortunately, but got to meet his parents.
Oh, okay, fair enough then. So then,
we were looking.
So then, when did you decide to come back to England then?
To be honest, mate, I didn't go out there with the intention of staying. I knew it was just going to be a kind of temporary thing, which I wanted to experience. Because I wasn't getting paid on time. We're always getting paid short, and I just thought, you know what, I can't live out here, man.
Yeah.
Can't live out here. But whilst I were out there as well, I actually started DJing as well.
Okay.
That's when I started first DJing out there. Just got my first gigs out there. I was playing like 40th birthday parties, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, the life. Fair enough. So then when you go back to England, what was your next move? Yeah. So as you come back in, what was your next move then?
My next move when I come back from England, I went and worked in recruitment.
Okay.
Yeah, I went and worked in recruitment, and at that time, I was still DJing as well. Still DJing. So obviously, like I was saying before, you learn different things from each sort of experience, don't you? So the recruitment side, I guess you could say I learned quite a lot to do with sales.
Yeah, because recruitment is like it's basically sales, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're just going around trying to place people, sell people and stuff.
yeah.
How long
yeah.
how long would you do that? How long you end up doing that for?
I probably ended up doing that for 3 years.
3 years.
3 years
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
Oh,
But in that role, I actually I met this chap called Gaz, and we actually went on to form a house music duo. That's where I met Gaz. This guy, he turned up in this like plush like blue suit. I thought, hey, up, who's this geezer? I thought he'd worked in industry for ages, but it turns out he'd actually been full time in music for the previous like 10 years. Um,
okay.
it had not worked out with another guy that it were on like brink of like making it big in the drum and bass scene, and it ended up going to plot for whatever reason. So he ended up a job in recruitment, and that's where I
Okay.
met him.
Oh, so
I
that's
met him
where.
at the office.
Oh, okay. That's where you met him.
Yeah,
For everyone
yeah,
who
yeah.
doesn't know, just let everyone know who Gaz is.
Gaz Kitcher is called.
Oh, okay.
Gareth Kitcher. They were part of Northern Lights in the drum and bass scene, and now we actually we created Del 30 when I met him there. Just started. Well, we'd go back to his house after work and just start making music and stuff, and it just went from there. But it took off really quickly. Took off really quick because he's like a bit of a genius, to be honest.
Okay. So-
Production wise.
Okay. So then, now back to sort of recruitment. So you said you spent about 3 years in there. When did you start getting the idea of starting your own business at that point?
It wasn't until because like the music thing actually took off. So
Okay.
we were touring around the UK. Every city you can think of. We were London, bloody Glasgow, literally from top to bottom. We even played a couple of international gigs like Ibiza and Portugal and stuff.
Fair enough.
So yeah, it took off in quite a big way, and it's still going to this day as Del 30. So if anyone who's listening likes a bit of house music, give it a go. Give it a go, man.
Okay. So how long? So between the recruitment and the music, how long did you sort of take to transition to sort of the business?
So I kind of with the music thing, I kind of lost control of it. I felt like Gaz had complete control of it, and it kind of took the love away from me. I just completely lost the love for it, and I kind of felt a bit like you've probably heard of it yourself, Dal, but like imposter syndrome sort of thing. I were in this like position, what people have worked for maybe 10, 20 years, and I'm here playing in front of thousands of people, and it's like, bloody hell, how did I get here?
Yeah.
So I just lost the love of it, and then I actually I got a job at SCS, the couch place.
Okay. Yeah.
Got a job there, and it were there where I started, the entrepreneurial sort of side of me started thinking. I was pushing these couches around the warehouse, and quite a grim time for me, to be fair. But that's when you're
That's when the
most
ideas
likely
flow,
to grow.
innit? Yeah, that's when the ideas flow, innit?
Yeah. So, I were working there with like lads who had worked there for 20 years, and pardon the pun, they become part of the furniture.
Yeah.
So
To be fair, them types of jobs, it is easy to get stuck into. I remember when I was possibly, because I had my phase when I was, lost. Mine was possibly between about 19 and 20, just before my 21st birthday, where I'd worked all these odd jobs. I'd worked in pubs, did just all sorts of jobs, and it's quite easy. What really scared me was there's this one maintenance company I went with, and this guy had told me he'd been there for like 15 years. what really woke me up and made me think I've got to do something like worthwhile was I was thinking, shit, what what if that's me when I'm 30, 40 and I've still been doing the same thing. So them jobs, it is really easy to get stuck in them jobs, but that was kind of my thing where I was like, okay, yeah, I've got to go and find something that I can actually do, something that's actually gonna work, something that's gonna properly work for me. So that was like my wake up call.
Yeah, exactly the same as what stage that I were at, really. My brother were actually in Afghanistan at the time, working as an aircraft technician, and I've been having like phone calls with him, all the time. And the one time I was on the phone with him, and he like got up and started running. Like them war sirens that you hear on like films.
Oh yeah,
that really eerie sort of war siren sound. That started going off, and he got up and started running. And the phone cut off. I was thinking, bloody hell, what's going on here? It turns out that a suicide bomber had tried to get onto his camp to try blow everyone up, basically. And so that's where my brother were at the time. And then that kind of lit up an extra little fire inside my stomach, thinking, I need to start something now. I need to start something that my brother can come home to as well, and take him away from that life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it were there. Luckily, I could have my earphones in while I was pushing these couches around, and I was listening to like audio books. And the one that I chose to listen to was How to Start a Window Cleaning Business.
Okay.
So while I'm pushing these couches around, I've got this audio book in my ears, and it talked me through step by step how to create your own window cleaning business, because that's what I decided I wanted to do. That's what I decided I wanted to set up. I thought.
So outside of that, before you settled on that, did you look at other things like that you wanted to start? Like, did you look at other industries? Like for me, from what you said, like you'd done recruitment for quite a while. Did you not think about going that route, or any others?
No.
What specifically about that? Yeah,
to be honest, mate, I didn't have any sort of passion for the recruitment or anything. Didn't enjoy it. So I wanted to do something that I knew that I'd enjoy, but that could also give an opportunity for my brother and also my dad to come and eventually work with us as well.
You. Yeah.
So window cleaning just fit my bill at that time, and it's proved to be a good decision.
Okay, so you decided this is the business that you want to start. So then, what did you have to do then? Because starting a business, like for me, when I was starting mine off, I was thinking, I need to have this, I need to have that, I need to have that, and also I was thinking to myself, oh God, how much money do I need to start? What did you have to sort of look at when starting?
It were a tricky one, really, because I kind of put it to my brother. I said to him, I spoke to him on the phone, and I said, look, bro, I'm gonna start this company, and by the time you come home from Afghanistan, I'm gonna build it up big enough so you can have your own income straight away. What I needed to do was, the thing is with me, mate, when I make a decision, I need to act on it straight away.
See it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't want to carry on working at this couch place. So what I did was I just quit. And I chucked myself into this new business. And some might say that's a bit daft. But I think when you've got no other choice, than to make it work, I think that's quite a powerful place to be, if you know what I mean. It couldn't fail. It needed to happen.
It needed
basically.
to work. Okay,
it needed to work.
So you've decided, okay, I'm going to quit my job and do this. So then, what did you have? Did you have to make any investments into any equipment? What was the process on that side of things?
Yeah, so I had a bit of I didn't have any money at this time. I wasn't financially educated at all, but I was. I had the drive. my brother obviously working in Afghan, he had quite a bit of money behind him at this point. So what I said to him is, you lend me this amount of money to start the business. And that's what happened. So he lent me a chunk of capital to start, get everything that I needed, get the van, get the system. What else were there? Yeah, the main things. It's quite a, you don't need much to get started in that industry. So yeah, I worked out a little deal with my brother. Say, look, it was kind of a bit of a trade-off. So he lent me the capital, and I said, when you come back from Afghan, you're going to have these customers.
Okay. So then, because from your stance, then you've just gone into like a completely new industry. Were you not a bit worried that I've just quit my job and gone into something I've never done before? Were you not a tad worried? Because for me, I'm the complete opposite. I'd be shitting myself. So for me, when I start something, I'd probably overthink it. So were you not thinking to yourself, oh God, I've done all this and I'm not sure if it's going to work out?
I think for me, like my sort of thing is, the standard thing is ready, aim, fire. I think mine's ready, fire, aim. So I chuck myself in. I chuck myself in and then work out the details afterwards. Similar with the podcast, I'd already had maybe 10 or 12 guests confirmed before I'd even set anything up. So I think it kind of forces you into massive action. Forces you into massive action when you do it like that.
Okay, so then how in terms of that? Because when I was looking at starting mine, I looked at loads of different industries. I did want to look at like the commercial side of like building maintenance, cleaning, all that stuff. I just didn't know the thing that was difficult for me was I looked at it and thought finding clients is difficult. So how did you look at getting a startup? Because it's all well and good going out getting the equipment. How did you look at getting the clients and getting the leads and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like I said before, it was kind of a ready, fire, aim sort of approach. So I'd already started putting the feelers out on social media. You probably know yourself. There's loads of like private groups on Facebook, for like villages and you know what I mean.
Towns around,
yeah. So I was posting on them. Just saying, look, basically, I'm starting a new window cleaning business, and I just wanted to get a conversation going with people, and just make people aware that I were doing it. So I actually had customers and people who saying, "Oh yeah, you can come clean mine, blah blah blah."
Okay, so that's how it started.
Yeah, and it just started like that. And I think obviously, with any new business you start, you've got to start with your immediate network. So you start with your family, your friends.
Then
you start in that way, and then it, it like forks off naturally, I think. But in terms of other new business, our door knocking, the
old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned, mate. Yeah.
I remember.
Please, sir.
No, honestly, I remember because I'm in healthcare, and obviously we get our clients through the council and stuff, but like private clients, you get paid more. And I remember I went through, this is before we even started everything, I printed out, I think it was like 150 leaflets. I'd pick a road, my brother came over, like, listen, I'll take this road, you take that road. We'd go do the same thing, letter post and put them right through the post. And it worked. You got like over 100, you get like 3 people, but that was the win. That was literally the win. Getting them 3 people was the win.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Fair enough.
I think you can't ever take away that kind of raw sort of experience for starting something up. And I think if you put yourself in front of people, in front of their face, and you're coming across as authentic and genuinely like passionate about it, then I think that's what people buy into as well. Okay. So I think
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Anything you do, just be authentic and genuine, and that proves to be.
So when you started it, obviously we've established you didn't put too much thinking into it. When you started it, what was the vision? Like, did you think to myself, in 1 year I'll be here, in 2 years I'll be here? Was there anything like that, or was it just like, okay, I'm gonna give it my all and see where I'm at the end of the year?
I think naturally, I always whatever I do in my life, I want to think big. Think big all the time. So I did have a vision of, I wanted 10 vans on the road, but I needed to think a bit more short term on this occasion, because I was going from income from this SCS job to literally nothing. So my immediate goal was to make enough money to pay my bills. And then I just kind of did it in small stages. And I think that's a good, you've got to have your big goal, but it's got to be broke down into smaller, achievable targets.
Yeah, I think that's the thing people don't. I mean, it's the thing people don't tell you, because I didn't know that. When I first started, I remember I was like, oh, I'm going to be making this. And it's like, you got to be a bit realistic with it. And then it's like a process.
Yeah.
I remember the first year, I just about broke even, meaning I just about paid for the office, just about paid for the staff, just about paid for myself. And we literally just broke even. Then the next year you start making a bit, and then it gradually, as you're growing, as the business is growing, then you start to do all that. Because I used to set myself really ridiculous Now I look back, I'm like, okay, that's really ridiculous. But then I was like, yeah, that's no problem. I'll be getting there. So that's kind of the thing you do, isn't it? But then now it's more like, I'll set myself higher targets, but they're reasonable. They're reasonable where, okay, it's not the end of the world if you don't achieve them, but if you do, great. But it's not like, they're not, I'm going to be doing this and that. So I think that's the thing when you start off that you don't realize is I've got to make actual realistic targets.
Yeah, that's it. I think, I was going to say, you need to make realistic. I think, I don't know if you've heard of the term, but like your moonshot. There's like a moonshot dream, like like an overly big sort of goal. It's good to have that. It's good to have that, because that kind of keeps you motivated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gives you that like purpose, like you're always going towards that goal. But you do need to break it down. I think
to that. When I was younger, my mum always used to say to me, "Shoot for the stars, but because if you don't reach them, look how high you are." And it's like that. Yeah. Like if you set good high targets, you falling short is still you're up here. Where so I think that is a good sort of model to have. Then going into sort of growing your business, how did you then? What other ways did you look at advertising, growing your business? What did you look at doing after year one of going, using your circle, giving leaflets? How do you look at then expanding your business and getting more clients?
I think I were big on. Well, I am still big on. You got to think outside the box sometimes, and look at other similar companies in the area or whatever, and think, what can I do that's different to them? Yeah. And so I kind of come up with a little idea to do like monthly prize competitions, and teaming up with other local businesses to give away like free prizes every month. Okay. And I used it through my business page, and that turned out to be a really good little strategy, to be fair. We approached like local businesses, and just to team up with local businesses and give away free prizes each month. So that worked really well. Just kind of bringing traffic to your page. But I think with the industry that I'm in, it works on recommendations.
Oh, okay. So, word to mouth. Yeah.
Word to. I think like any business, I think any business is a people business, in it, and you need to you need to develop good rapport with your customers, and then they'll go on to recommend you
Tell other
to their
people and tell other
family and
people,
their,
yeah.
and it's just like a domino effect, and like to this date now we get recommended a lot.
Yeah, I think that's how it starts with most businesses, most industries, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
like think about like your clothes. Like for me, where I buy my clothes, my brother would go, "Hey, try this one. I like this one." Then if I like this one, I tell my mate. So like, so it is that, isn't it? So it's the same for whatever industry. A lot of people take recommendations from their friends, from their such and such. So if you perform well in that, it's really good. Like we had, because we usually get like I was saying before, getting a private client's like the best thing ever. We had recently someone go to us and say, "Oh, you've serviced this person before and they really recommended you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's really good." Getting recommended by someone is it's like kind of like a badge of honor, to be honest, isn't it? Get someone, someone saying that your product was up there. In terms of like this year, well, actually, I should say 2020. What was it like with sort of COVID?
I think like the rest of the world, there were so many conflicting messages when we first went. Do you know what I mean? When we first went into lockdown, you can go out, but you need to stay in. You know what I mean? It was so conflicting. So we actually. The first 4 weeks of the first lockdown, we stayed closed, we stayed shut, just to do our bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But looking back, we should have stayed open. But yeah, 4 weeks we were completely shut down. But then we got back out to it.
Okay, so what was did the level of business sort of, how was that affected? Did it decrease, slow down? What was that like?
It's a funny one with this industry because obviously more people were at home.
Yeah.
And more people were at home staring out of the dirty windows.
Doing nothing. Yeah, yeah.
And thinking, I could do with a window cleaner. So the numbers were coming in really good. It's been a good time for us, luckily.
Okay.
We do businesses as well. We clean like for restaurants and
like commercial places,
commercial stuff. Not massive commercial stuff, but just businesses and obviously if they've been affected by COVID and they've shut down, like the hospitality trade, then it's on a hold for us as well. So we have lost in some respect, but I think we've made on the residential side, it's made up for it.
See, I was talking to mate George on actually the other pod, and what he was saying, because I've got a few friends who work in like the real estate, like in mortgage and all that stuff, and he says this 2020 was the best year for him because for some reason while people were locked up, they were buying houses, and to me I was thinking to myself, well, how does that work? So there's certain industries where the pandemic actually sped things up. Like for myself in healthcare, possibly this was the busiest year I've ever had in terms.
Can imagine.
In terms of like business wise. So there's certain industries like your online, whereas like retail and shops are closing, online's booming. So there's certain stuff with COVID where it affects certain negatively, and then it affects some in a positive manner. So that side of it's really interesting to see on that side. So what's it been like recently? Because there's been 3 lockdowns and that. What's it been like between them periods?
It's just been business as usual for us. We've just carried on. Like I say, the residential side has just been our bread and butter, really. So and like you say, it's affected some businesses in a really bad way, but luckily we aren't one of them industries. So yeah, it's been okay. It's been just normal for us.
Okay, so what's the focus? So we're in, I think it's year 4 now, isn't we, of the business? What's the focus going into? I mean, I know. Obviously, Boris just came out yesterday and said we're locking down. What's the focus of the business this year? What you're looking to accomplish this year?
Yeah, so The business is kind of split up into. We've all got our own sort of round. So I've got my own customers. My brother's got his own customers, and my dad's got his own customers. I actually want to. I'm not making any financial gain from them two. I just wanted to kind of give them it. So it's not from a business point of view. It's not really great, but me personally, I feel great for having given them the opportunity to run their own, basically be their own bosses. Really.
Okay.
So it's financially not the smartest decision I've ever made, but I think it'll pay me back hopefully later down the line. I'm a big believer in that. You're doing good and you'll get paid back for it later on in life.
Okay, so this year, do you set targets? So what are like the targets and the goals for this year?
Yeah, it's funny. We do weekly. We set weekly goals. We always meet up on a Monday morning, go for a coffee. Well, we can't obviously at the minute, but we have a virtual coffee on a Monday morning and set goals for that week. Like I say, it's good to have the long-term goals as well, which we have set. Personally, I want to bring on another member of staff within the next 6 months.
Okay.
And the two of us have made their own personal goals as well. So yeah, I want to bring on another member of staff.
Maybe grow that side a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got to always want to be growing, haven't you? I think if you stood still, you're going backwards, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So what we'll finish with is just put our little Q&A before, and I've just got a set of questions for both of us. So the first one is, what's the most important thing that you've learned since you started your business? So you go with that one. What's the most important thing you learned?
Most important thing.
It's a difficult one, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, it's difficult. The most important thing I've learned is that I love helping people. Personally, that's the biggest thing I've learned. I've got a passion for helping people, and I think
Okay. Most important thing.
Passionate for helping people. Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah.
Most important thing is, I would say, is learn to evolve regularly. So I'm just going into year 5 of the business, and the thing I've figured out in the last sort of year or so is the me in terms of what I needed to do in year 1 isn't the me that's required now. And then also, as you grow, you have to sort of learn to change with it, not stay the same. I'd probably say that's, if I was saying the biggest thing, I'd probably say it was that one. But that's quite a toughie, that one, isn't it?
It is a tough one. I'll rephrase my answer because I was just thinking it was kind of a personal thing what I'd learned there. But in terms of what I've learned about business, I think when you set up a business, I think, have you read a book called The E-Myth?
Oh, briefly. It's actually, at home I got a stack of books where I've started and I haven't finished. It's on there, actually.
The E-Myth, you need to read that one, mate. It's basically about setting up systems in your business, and it's about working on your business rather than working in your business.
Okay.
So it's about basically not being a technician but being the business owner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's I can't really say that I'm going by that at the moment because I'm still cleaning windows myself. But long term, I want to just own the business and have people doing it for me. Do you know what I mean? It's all about setting it up like that.
See, I was actually having that conversation with my mum the other day, where she was saying, because I was asking her for advice. I was like, look, the business is such and such old now, and I'm running it. And she was saying to me, well, you need to be the person overlooking everything. You can't be involved in everything.
Yeah.
So that's a good point on that one, actually. That's a really good point on that one.
Bit of an eye opener, that one, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and like, you start to see it as you start growing. You can't be in everything. Like year
Yeah.
one and year two, literally, there's not a thing that went on in the business that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Year three and year four, it's like, okay, no, you've got to start growing, getting more staff.
You need to
can't be,
delegate. Yeah.
yeah, delegating. That's the
Yeah.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
most
Yeah. That's
important
it.
thing. And then, what's the most important thing for a businessman slash businesswoman to have when they're starting their business?
I think the most important thing is to have a strong why. You need to have a strong reason and purpose for setting up the business, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I would.
yeah.
I don't think I've got two. I think the first one is, I would say, mental strength, because within the first month, the first day, the first week, whatever, you will get severely tested.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got the fortitude to push past that, then you won't be in business very long. I think that's the best one. And then the most important one is hard work.
Yeah.
Because I think when I started out, I used to see people talking about, to be the best, you've got to put in the hard hours. To be honest, I thought all of that was just, it looks good on a clipboard. But then I started to see there was a correlation. The harder and the smarter that I worked, the better everything was. So those are the two things I would personally say. If you're starting a business, you need to have those, or else I don't think you're gonna get too far. What would you tell someone who was starting a business today? Like, what advice would you give him? In terms of just, I said to you, I want to come and start a business.
Yeah.
What would you give to me?
Like I say, I'd say to you, why do you want to start it? What do you want to come from it? And that's got to match up, because I think you've got to be. I think you have got to have passion. I think you've got to be passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, I think it'll only get you to a certain point. And I think you've got to be obsessed as well. Obsessed in a good way.
Yeah.
I've recently read a book by Grant Cardone.
Oh, okay, yeah, Grant Cardone. Big fan of Grant.
Yeah, mad guy. He obviously did like the 10x rule and all that sort of stuff. And I've read a book recently called Be Obsessed or Be Average. And I think whatever you're doing, you need to put 100% of your effort into it.
Yeah.
Especially at the start, and like I say, you're going to have setbacks, but it's what you learn from each setback which will make you carry on, which will enable you to move to the next step.
Yeah. I would say give it a go, because I think a lot of things, I was going through this with a friend now. Give it a go. You don't know what's going to happen, and obviously things like that with the pandemic, it's difficult to tell. But I would say give it a go, because you don't know what might happen. Like for me with the pod, I thought about doing the pod honestly last January. Put it off. Thought, nah, no chance. And then within the last 3-4 months of the year, I'm thinking, what's actually stopping me? If I try it, I fail. Then I know, okay, it's not for me. But what if I succeed? So I think that would be my thing, is go for it. Give it a go.
Yeah.
The worst thing is, okay, you've ruled out one thing that you're not supposed to be doing. That's the way I view it. And then next question is, what do you think the economy will look like, post COVID-19? That's difficult. That's another difficult one, isn't it?
It's hard. It's hard to look in the future, isn't it? We don't know what's going to lay ahead. We just don't know. I think a lot of good will come from this crisis. I think a lot of good will come from it.
Okay, expand on that. What do you mean?
Well, I think it's taught us about what's really important in life at the moment. you're spending more time with your loved ones. A lot of people aren't travelling into work. They're saving fuel. It's having a knock-on effect on the environment. There's no fumes coming out of cars. Well, there weren't certainly at starting proper lockdown anyway. But I mean, people have realised they can work from home, and
I think working from home is a game changer. For me, I'd say the correct answer is no one knows, because we're just guessing. No one knows what the economy is going to be like. My what I think will happen is, as has happened now, there's going to be industries who have thrived. So certain industries, either your healthcare, the housing side of stuff. There's industries that have thrived that will continue to do so, and I think the only for people in hospitality, your pubs, places like that, I think those have really suffered, and unfortunately, that side of the business probably a lot of pubs and stuff won't be around. And I was talking to a mate of mine who sort of owns a bar on the docks, and he was saying he managed to survive the first lockdown, and he was saying the last mini lockdown in, is it November, early December time, he said that's essentially finished him off. So I think them types of businesses will struggle, but then there'll be industries that boom. And then also your stuff like your online shoppings, them types of businesses will boom. So again, correct answer is no. None of us know. We're just
no one knows.
We're just taking a guess. And then the very last one before we sort of move on is, what would you what's more important, profit or turnover in a business?
Profit. It's got to be profit.
It's got to be.
Got to be profit. I think I was speaking to someone recently, and they were telling me, my company's done about 100 grand turnover this year. But I realised that he were buying a lot of expensive equipment, and that don't mean out, mate. What profit have you made from it?
Yeah, I think
it's a bit inflated. It's like almost a false. It's a false figure, really.
I think I would agree with that. I would say it's really good to say my business has done X, but it's how much you kept. So if you're saying there, if someone's business has done a lot of high turnover, but they've got a lot of high liabilities,
expenses.
So expenses. Well, then what actually is it? You just about breaking even, things like that. So I would possibly say profit and keeping money in the bank. That's the most important thing. I'd say that.
Yeah, man.
So that's that. Yeah. But no, cheers for coming on, mate. It's been really properly ages having you on, isn't it? It's been, like I was saying, it's been back to November time, so it's hopefully actually we'll be in the future looking to have you on and stuff like that. But cheers for putting the time aside to sort of pop on.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure, mate. Thank you for asking us. Yeah,
perfect.
It's been a pleasure.
Perfect. Okay, no, I'll be speaking to you soon, man. Thanks a lot for coming on. Take care.